Things just took a major turn for the Boston Bruins as we have now know the price that Brad Marchand had asked for in a contract extension and has not counted out a return to the Boston Bruins. We're going to be talking about all of that here in this video and what this could mean for the Bruins offseason and why this trade to the Florida Panthers went down. But very quickly, before we get into this video, we have a very exciting announcement to make. We are kicking off a March Madness bracket for the channel, and we partner with Hot Takes app and the other Digest channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. All you have to do is go and join the Hot Takes app, click the March Madness banner at the top, and under groups, select the Digest Media Pool. This is very exciting as there's over $25,000 in prizes to be won, and since there's a much smaller pool of people participating, there's a real chance in winning big compared to those other bracket challenges that are out there. Check out the link below or scan the QR code to go and download the app. And make sure to use the code DIGEST in all capitals to get all your exclusive rewards when signing in. And again, it's completely free and you have a serious chance to win big. So I look forward to seeing all of you guys here in this March Madness bracket. And if you do need a hand or have any trouble signing in, be sure to reach out to the email down below and we'll get you all sorted out there. Thank you to Hot Takes for kind of setting this up, and let's be honest, I know nothing about basketball, but when I do watch these games, it is March Madness, and being able to win a prize like this is absolutely insane. I'm very much looking forward to this, and I hope you all do as well, but thank you to Hot Takes once again, but let's get into this video now. Starting off with this tweet from Bruins Capspace, really came from Biz and the boys on Spittin' Chicklets, that the Bruins offered Marchand $6.125 million, which is his current contract, and Marchand's camp asked for $7.5 million. Now, meeting was requested by Brad Marchand, who was willing to meet in the middle, but the Bruins were not. If this is accurate, I think the Bruins were not satisfied with his production and or leadership. Why else would they move on from him? And that second part was from the Bruins Capspace Twitter account. Go follow them. Very good spot to keep up all of your kind of Bruins Capspace and what the lineup will look like next year. But looking at these numbers now, we knew that the two parties were far apart. That came out before. That's been revealed before. And when we're hearing Elliot Friedman and all of them come out and talk about this when this trade was going down to the Florida Panthers, we were not given a price. And Elliot Friedman had not been told either. So now looking at this from Biz, who, as a very good recent inside source in the NHL, this is a major difference. A lot more than I initially thought. And for those who were in the live stream on the trade deadline, I was kind of talking about this thinking, maybe Marchand was asking around $7 million. That would have been my guess. I think that's probably what I would have given him as well. And meeting in the middle would be at around $6.8 million for the Bruins. And the Bruins were not even willing to do that. I think this is a very good insight as to what went down in these negotiations and why a trade ultimately came down. 7.5 is a lot of money for Brad Marchand, who will be 37 once this current contract expires, and also wanting 3 years out of this. That was a hefty price to give, and looking at it more and more now, it makes complete sense why the Bruins were a bit hesitant on trying to make this deal. Now, when we do look at the cap space over the next few seasons, this does go up, but when we're looking at next season, $28.8 million, then we go to $40 million, and then $60 million. Now, taking away about, I would call it a third of this, a quarter of this nearly, for Brad Marchand, we can almost call it a full-on third. That really takes away a lot of cap space that you're going to have to allocate to free agents next season, and I will pull up those later that we do have right now, especially a lot of the recent additions, but it would limit the Bruins on what they could do and what they would be able to do in free agency, being able to give Marchand, let's just say 7.5 if he were to get what he asked for, even though the Bruins were not willing to do that and Brad Marchand was willing to meet in the middle. So it really does seem like the Bruins were, as Bruins Capspace Twitter mentioned, not really willing to give him that due to his production. I do not think it was anything to do with leadership. I think it was full on just the injury history, his production and whatnot. Production was good, but $7.5 million good, I wouldn't call it yet. Now, when we're also looking at those future contracts that I just had up, and the future salary caps over the next few seasons that I had pulled up, that does kind of make sense that Marchand wanted to get this. Right now and over the next season and so, that would be a bit of a big contract. But when it does come down to about year 3 and the final year of that deal, it would be basically equivalent to the $6 million he is now, if you were counting of a cap percentage of the Bruins cap. So I see where Marchand's coming from, but I think the Bruins were a bit hesitant on that because of the injury, as well as knowing that what they made, the moves they made beforehand, and the moves that they made kind of moving into this new rebuild type team, they were going to have to give some big contracts in a couple of years, and Marchand probably would have limited that in year 2 to 3 of that deal. So it does make sense why this trade didn't happen. But as we kind of move on as well, Scott McLaughlin put this here about Brad Marchand on whether he sensed big changes will be coming, and what for the Bruins, he says, anytime you don't achieve what you expect to do or you set out to do, you know they're going to make changes. So it almost does seem like Brad Marchand sensed this. Maybe he kind of had the idea that, negotiations were not going to be working on his side at all, because we may remember, and when we kind of take back a look back at what he had to say and what he was, kind of going through earlier on in the season when Jim Montgomery was still the coach, he mentioned that the two were kind of discussing, but nothing was kind of progressing. Elliot Friedman had reported that things were getting closer. Brad Marchand completely shut that down, and now we kind of see where this was all coming from. And there is a part of me that really sensed that Brad Marchand expected to not just be, going unsigned, possibly being a free agent, but going into a trade deadline where he may not be on this Bruins team for the remainder of the season. So he may have been kind of picking out his teams early, and of course playing with Sam Bennett there in the Four Nations Cup. That was something that I think really kind of may have swayed his opinion, because we remember what happened last year in the playoffs, and kind of the reactions now in the way that we've seen them come out about and talking about it. They really have seemed to kind of put that in the past, as Brad Marchand has really done with just about everything in his career, and made it the way that he wants to go and win, which completely makes sense when you're looking at Brad Marchand's side of things. Now, when you kind of go back to what Joe Haggerty had to say here, he said Marchand would not close the door on a potential return to the Bruins this summer in free agency, but admitted he hasn't put too much thought into a long-term future landing spot. I don't know what the future brings, or in terms of how it plays out in the summer. So, looking at the possibility of it, I think it could be there. If the Bruins, really change up their mind on how much they're willing to give Brad Marchand, if Brad Marchand's considering, taking a bit of a lower cut, which I do not think that will be the case, he has not counted it out. And is it going to be likely? That's kind of tough to tell, and I really don't think it would be, just because Brad Marchand has, kind of stayed steady at his price. He knows that he's probably worth that, and the Bruins don't really want to offer that much just because of the situation they're in. It completely makes sense, and I do understand not wanting to be locked down for that much term. So the way that we've kind of been seeing up to this point right now, it doesn't seem like it, but we never really know, and, it could be an option if the Bruins decide to try to change their mind right now and change things up, but I don't see Brad Marchand budging from his current price, or even going down to that middle price where he was at a $6.7, $6.8 million range. Now, I want to pull up the Bruins cap space on Twitter, their post of the 2025 offseason projections of the free agency. And when we look at the left side here, where Brad Marchand was, Morgan Geekie will be re-signed. I think I have no doubt about that in my mind. Pavel Zacha there was also playing the middle, and with Marchand playing the left right now, those can be switched up. But John Beecher, Jacob Lauko, who I think will be re-signed as well. John Beecher, potentially. I'm not too positive on him right now. And Cole Koepke, who has been very hot at the start of the season, immensely cooled down. There is still a spot there for Brad Marchand, but when you're looking at all of those free agents, just say the Bruins do want to go out and re-sign, 2, 3, maybe all of them, that $7 million, whatever it may be, contract for Brad Marchand will seriously limit the amount of money they'll be able to give those folks here. Because when we look at Mason Lohrei, he's going to be re-signed. When we look at Henri Jokiharju, who's been absolutely incredible, and we're going to have a video on him tomorrow, so be sure to stick around for that. He has been fantastic. He will likely be someone that's going to be re-signed by the Bruins as a very, very good right-handed defenseman. Marchand I also see being extended. Then you have guys like Georgi Merkulov, Fabian Lysell that are going to be looking for contracts, if not traded sooner rather than later. They are going to be in a bit of a pickle when it does come down to being able to have every bit of cap space to go out, get these guys, and also just say a Brad Marchand. So it does come down to what the Bruins' plan is, and that, of course, can change when it does come down to free agency, but we really won't know for quite some time now. So let me know what you think about this video. What do you think about the final, at least what it seems to be the final quotes here from Brad Marchand on this trade? Do you think it was the right decision now looking at the cap space? Do you think it's the right move after going out to look at how much he was going to make or how much he was asking for? It makes a lot of sense now when it comes down to it to me, so I want to know what you guys think as well. But that's all I got in this video. Once again, thank you to Hot Takes for sponsoring this video. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.